And a good Saturday morning to you. Welcome once again to Health Matters with Dr. Jim Warner of Warner Chiropractic in Rockford, Illinois. And I'm sure we're going to punctuate today's program with information such as colons.
Absolutely. We're going to talk about colon health today. Fred, how to have a healthy colon. There are so many problems in our United States here where people get sick because their colons aren't healthy. And most people don't even think about that. As long as they go to the bathroom, some people just a couple times a week, they think everything's going fine. But that's not going to give you a healthy colon. And if you can keep that colon healthy, then you're going to help a lot of other things. Now, some people, if you watch TV or you read certain things, Fred, some people maybe go a little bit too far on this and say, you know, they cured everything from cancer to you name it by doing colon treatments. There is some validity to that. It's not a cure-all. Not all problems are caused by colon problems, but if you do certain things to keep that colon healthy, it will keep the rest of your body healthy too.
Well, explain to me and to the listeners what the colon is and what its function is in the human body.
Okay, the colon is properly called the large intestine. It's the area that we could call the garbage area of the body. In other words, before you go to the bathroom, you have a bowel movement. That is the area that evacuates, or it holds the garbage until it's ready to leave through your system. And so to make sure that there's no garbage, no backlog, no disease entities in your body, you have to have this garbage removed on a constant basis. And when it's not doing it on a regular basis, then you end up getting sick.
So what about these infomercials that talk about these various products that will give you a complete cleansing on the inside and cleanse out the colon?
Well, I would say those things are good, and they're probably very valid. The thing is, Fred, it's what you do every day, not a one-time cleansing.
Right.
And too often people say, well, I want to get my colon cleansed, and they'll do something to cleanse it for a couple days, but they're not doing something on a consistent basis to make sure that that colon stays healthy. And if you are doing things correctly all along, you don't need to do something on a drastic measure.
Now, if you're not, digesting things well, or you're not eliminating well, you become constipated a lot. You end up having a lot of toxins in your system, don't you?
Yes, you do. Now, some of these toxins they've found will cause cancer. So there are the toxic material in your bowel movements will cause cancer. And the longer you keep that in the body, the more it's going to be absorbed. It will cause heart disease. Well, how can it cause heart disease, you wonder? Well, cholesterol through your bile salts passes through your system. And if it's not being passed through your system, your body reabsorbs the bile and the bile salts, and then this increases your cholesterol count. So a lot of times people have high cholesterol, Fred. It's because their bowels aren't working correctly.
So what is the best way to keep everything functioning and so that you're not absorbing those toxins into your system?
Good point. Number one, Fred, is something that you and I are constantly stressing here, and that's making sure you drink a lot of water.
Right.
Most people don't drink enough water, and so there's as the food passes through your system, your body needs this water so much that it pulls the water out of the food. It actually absorbs the water, and then it gives you hard stools, and that's why it's like trying to push rocks through your system because all the water's been absorbed. And so drinking lots of water, 2/3 ounces per pound of body weight is something that we've recommended for a number of years, and it's still valid. Drinking lots of water so that the water that's in the food allows a smooth passage of the material through your body. So water is primary. Another thing that's just about as important, Fred, and that would be getting enough fiber in your diet. Now, fiber is the substance that goes through your body and isn't digested. So when you eat something and it's not digested, it's not absorbed, it'll go through your system. Now, in the United States, usually people have maybe 9 to 13 grams of fiber in their diet. Not enough. We should have 2 to 3 times that amount.
What does the fiber do when it gets into your system?
Okay, it passes through your system and takes all the junk out with it.
So it helps to pull that stuff out of you.
It absolutely does. That's all that it does, because there's no nutritional value in the fiber other than it goes through. You could eat sawdust, Fred, that your body would not digest, but it would go through your system, and it would be very beneficial for you. There was a time 20, 30 years ago when a bread company put sawdust in their bread and then said it was high in fiber.
Well, it was.
And it was. and there was nothing wrong with that. But it would be something that would be beneficial. So getting a lot of fiber. So you need maybe 25 to 35 grams of fiber per day. Some say 50 grams would be ideal. Well, you get maybe 2 grams of fiber in a banana, so you'd have to eat about 25 bananas. That's a lot of fiber.
Yeah.
Almost 3 grams in an apple. An apple has a little bit more. Carrot sticks give you some. Raw fruits and vegetables are good. Dried peas, beans, whole grains are important. Oatmeal is excellent. And that's why they say, well, oatmeal is good for your cholesterol and good for your heart. And the reason is because it's high in fiber that passes through your system. And so your body doesn't absorb the bile salts, which raises your cholesterol.
I've seen those commercials for oatmeal, and they're saying it helps lower your cholesterol. I didn't understand it was because of the fiber.
That is the reason why it does that. So it's very, very important to get enough fiber. Nuts are pretty good, and popcorn and such. These are good things for fiber because they're not absorbed and they pass through your system.
So instead of taking a drug like Lipitor, you could simply increase your fiber intake.
Cholesterol is not caused from a Lipitor deficiency. It's caused from a fiber deficiency. But it's a lot easier just to take the purple pill or whatever type of color that pill is and not try to get to the source of the problem, which is a diminished amount of fiber in the American diet.
So two basic things that are very simple to remedy a problem with your colon or your digestion is simply water and fiber.
Water and fiber. Another thing that's good is acidophilus, the good yogurt, the bacteria, the good bacteria that you get in yogurt. That would be something that would be very good to take too.
Why is that?
Because your body needs the beneficial bacteria throughout your system, and it helps digestion and it helps the passage of food through your body.
Okay.
And so acidophilus is important. Chiropractic adjustments. We've spoken in the past, Fred, about how important chiropractic is to make sure that your organs are working properly. Your ileocecal valve, we've talked about that. Your colon, your stomach, gallbladder, all these things are very important because if the nerves to those areas aren't working properly, you won't have the peristalsis, or it won't pass the food through your system properly.
So what nerves in the human spine affect the colon?
The low back.
Low back.
The low back. So when people have low back trouble, a lot of times they end up with constipation. Or they might have constipation and they end up with their back hurting them, and the one is causing the other. So chiropractic is very important. When people are under a lot of stress and everything's churning on the inside, and that kind of stops the flow of the poisons through your body too. So you might have constipation or problems with stress, not taking enough time for bowel movement. Sometimes people are so much in a hurry, rather than have their bowel movement, they'll hold on to it and do it hours later. Well, hours later, that peristalsis might have stopped, and that junk is kept inside your system and not being allowed to pass. You're getting sick and you don't know it.
What about exercise?
Exercise is good also. I'm glad you brought that up. Exercise is good, especially abdominal exercise, where you're doing something on your stomach. That helps massage that area and helps pass the food through the system. So that's very important. How does someone know, Fred, if they're having problems with the colon, if there's a log jam there? There's an easy way to tell. And what we recommend people do is go to a health food store and buy charcoal tablets, which is just charcoal. It's not digested. And you take a couple of these tablets and then look at your stool and see how long it takes for the charcoal to come through. It should go the next day. The next day you should evacuate the charcoal. If it's taken 2 days, 3 days, 5 days, there's something wrong. It's not passing through. And what you eat today should leave your body tomorrow.
You know, a lot of time people complain about just being tired or sluggish, and I imagine that if they're not regular, that could be one of the reasons absorbing those toxins.
Oh, yeah, that's exactly what it is. It's toxic tiredness, headaches, headaches also. They found for two reasons. The toxins cause the headaches, but even just the expansion of the colon, because it's so impacted, that causes a reflex headache, even if there weren't any toxins being absorbed. Even just the impaction of the colon causes headaches.
What about people who take things like prune juice or other types of products to help loosen them up?
Well, I'd say those things are good. If they're taking a natural substance that does that, I think that's good. If they're taking a pill just to try to get things going through, I'm not opposed to that on a single time basis. But if you have to take it every single day,
that's not good.
Then you can get addicted to that too.
Laxatives can be addictive.
Absolutely. And so, the best thing to do is to find out if there's something that can be done here by increasing water, increasing fiber, increasing acidophilus, chiropractic treatment, reducing stress. All these things will help you avoid cancer, heart disease, diabetes, headaches, tiredness that you mentioned. All these things can be avoided to a large extent. I'm not saying it cures it all. I'm saying it can be avoided to a large extent by just taking proper care of your colon.
All right. That is incredible information. I know that you have information in form of pamphlets also online for people.
Yes, they can contact us at www.warnerchiro.com.
warnerchiro.com. And the phone number
is 815-398-8111.
That is Warner Chiropractic at 4855 East State Street, Rockford, Illinois, with Dr. Jim Warner. Dr. Jim, thanks so much.
Thank you. Have a wonderful day today.
And that will punctuate our program for today on Health Matters.